What's up, you guys? So I am back because Monique and Sidney have responded to Monique's son, Shalon. If you missed that video he made, I posted it earlier today and I'll leave a link to it in the top right-hand corner of this video. In this video that I'm about to show you, Monique and Sidney are responding to some things that Shalon said in his video. Now, Shalon explained that he was triggered twice. Once when Monique did that interview with Club Shay Shay, and she said that she prays to the universe to mend her relationship with Shalon. And the second time he was triggered was when Monique and Sidney went live responding to D.L. Hughley, and Sidney mentioned that they have 3 sons. And it was triggering for him because obviously Monique has 4 sons. And so in Shalon's video, he said specifically that he wasn't talking about monetary things. He was talking about Monique not wanting to mother him, as in the action of mothering him, like being present for him. Now, from what I can tell, Monique had Shalon in 1990, and I shared audio of her saying when she became famous, she was more interested in fame than being a mother. But then it appears she had her sons, the twins, in 2005. And when Precious did what it did in 2009, she chose not to promote the movie, not only because she wasn't getting paid to promote it, but when they offered to pay her, it was around Christmas time and she wanted to spend the holiday with her sons. So at this point, she's a present mother. Apparently, when she had Shalon, she was not a present mother, but by the time she had her twins, she was a present mother. And so it seems like that's been hard for Shalon. That's what it seemed like from his video, that's been hard for him to watch. So in this video that I'm sharing with y'all now, Monique and Sidney actually address Shalon, and Sidney claims that Shalon is mentally ill. Y'all are going to hear that about 7 minutes into the actual video, and I did an instant replay of it to make sure that y'all hear Sidney reveal Shalon's alleged personal and medical information, and Monique sit there like it's okay with her for her husband to reveal her son's medical information. And so now you have Sidney calling Shalon mentally ill because he spoke out about his experience with his own mother. But the funny part about it is that he's defending Monique for speaking out about her experiences with Oprah and Tyler Perry. He's saying that people shouldn't judge her for speaking out. But when Monique's son speaks out, he says that he's mentally ill. So I want you to hear it for yourself and leave a comment and let me know what you think.
We got it. All right, we're going to wait for some of the babies to come in the room so we can have this conversation. You would do that right now? Hey, babies.
Hey, hey.
We just wait for y'all to come on in the room so we can have this conversation with our community. What is that? Oh, we good. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Let's rock and roll. The title of our conversation, or the theme of it, is called The Long Way Around, because ain't no shortcuts. Pickles, stop playing with that paper, please. The reason we're having it is a multitude of reasons, but we're going to start off with, there was a Instagram that was put up, or I guess
It was TikTok, baby.
TikTok that was put up by
My son, my oldest son, Shalon. And this is what I want to say to this. There are some people that are saying, oh, you should be ashamed of your mothering skills. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is what I'll say. Let's let it play out. Because the same ones that said to me, I was crazy, I was deranged, we watched it play out. So just like with my son, we'll watch this play out. And I do want to address this though, Shalon. When you say her daddy, then that's when mommy gonna say stop playing, because you know this has been Uncle Sid your whole life. Uncle Sid knew you before you knew you. So for you to say her 3 sons, yes, you're absolutely right. He has 3 sons. He can't claim you as his son because he's always been Uncle Sid, and he knows your daddy very well.
and love that brother. And the irony of all of this is not what is said, but what's left off.
Yes.
See, you're leaving off the fact that the last time we laid eyes on you, your mother got you everything you needed for the newborn baby about 3 years ago. You're forgetting about how I, from Georgia, am talking you through getting your car after we gave you the half of the down payment for it. And you were 31 years of age, 32 years of age at that point. And I'm negotiating the deal with the dealer for you as you sit there. And you have the vehicle you're driving right now because of your mother. These are the things that you're leaving out when you're expressing what you're expressing in reference to your mother. You're not expressing the relationship that you have with your father, where you spoke ill to him, not to mention spoke ill to your mother, but somehow your mother and father and I all have a loving relationship and communicate back and forth because of the love that we have for you. The one thing these individuals, and to the individuals out here that oftentimes speak after they've heard one side of the story, there's an old saying, believe half of what you see and none of what it is that you hear. Please don't take our word for it, but what we will convey is this. Those who are parents and have raised their parents up to being adults.
The children. Raise their children up to being adults.
Right on. Those who are parents that raise their children into adulthood know that there comes a time and a place in which they determine their own decisions, their own path. You can have multiple children that are raised in one house, but they act and they take on different things. The reason why it was so important for us to entertain these conversations that we typically have privately, or that we're influenced to have privately amongst the people in our community, is because we need to stop being embarrassed about being human beings and about being black human beings. You will oftentimes hear us saying we are embarrassing ourselves in front of them. Who is them?
Who are they?
Because when you hear someone articulate these things, that is the slave's mentality that makes us believe that we as black people need to conduct ourselves with dignity because white people are watching. You should conduct yourself with dignity because the spirit of you is watching.
Come on.
But we need to have these conversations out loud and taboo because we have a finite period of time together here on this earth. You will travel through infinity with the spirit that you have all alone, and you will not remember the ridicule that you receive, but you will be judging yourself. You will be determining for the rest of your life which way that you go as you have thus far. So this conversation is about speaking directly to what situations are. And many people oftentimes, when they are presented with an issue, they stay quiet, they hide, they disappear. And what we're saying is that's not who we are, because what you cannot do is you cannot trick an honest person.
Come on.
You can demean, you can say whatever you want to say about them negatively, but what will happen is truth has a way of standing the test of time. I forgot to have my phone to read the last text message that I gave to you, Shalon, where I told you about the understanding of how you are speaking to a woman and how you as a man and how you perceive things may be completely different from how your wife, how your mother, how your sister, how your daughter will look at things. And when you learn how to communicate a little bit better, then things will happen a little bit better. You young man, because of the challenges that this young brother has had with mental illness. So we're communicating that out loud to speak to our community, to say, listen, y'all, if we have more public conversations, there will be less private angst. you, young man, because of the challenges that this young brother has had with mental illness. So we're communicating that out loud to speak to our community, to say, listen, y'all, if we have more public conversations, there will be less private angst.
Come on.
There will be less private issues that we carry on because we're afraid to communicate in front of white folks.
So when we get to a place where you want to be free, you will stop being scared to say what's real. You'll stop being fearful of having conversations that normally take place in private and nobody ever really knows the outcome. And from there, when you were saying earlier about how we're looking in front of white folks, I do hear our brother Greg Mathis say, the studio is watching y'all and the executives are watching y'all. So what?
If the executives are watching closely, some people are so poor, all they have is money.
Come on.
Don't be that.
Come on.
Don't be that.
I'm sorry to be chuckling. When I hear you, when I hear my son, when I hear you, Shalon, talk about money and stuff, it's like, baby, as I told you when you were younger, I told you as a man, don't let nobody introduce you to me. You know who your mama is.
And when folks speak in reference to calling your seed, sometimes, especially when your seed decided to call things off with you because you didn't move for a 34-year-old, 32-year-old man in the time that he wanted to do, because you as a mother, you as an entertainer, you as an actress, you as a grandmother, you as a wife, allotted the time to see him, but he pushed you away. But then when it's time for him and it doesn't work for you, now it's a problem. Listen, it comes a point in time where when you become a man, when you become a woman, it is your obligation to do for you. To do for you. At 31, brother, 32, I'm sitting there on a conversation at the behest of your mother. Why? For you. Because I love my nephew. And we still love you, Shalon. That's why your mother and your father interact with one another, to let them be aware of what's happening with you. So if you think you're not loved, that's because you're not paying attention. And there are other dynamics that fall into play in which we completely understand. And for you too, we're going to keep the light on for you. But I find it extremely ironic that the last time you saw me, you wanted to be able to call me dad. And I couldn't allow you to call me dad because there's only one dad in your life. And he's a friend of ours.
Come on.
He's a friend of ours. So again, we as people of color, let us stop being embarrassed about having conversations out loud, because you never know who you could be helping. Please do not allow people to embarrass you out of life. I don't care if you're in the LGBTQ community. I don't care if you want to change your profession. I don't care. Whatever it is that you want to do, we have a finite amount of time to live on this plane. Please do not live on this plane based upon the ridicule you may or may not receive from someone else. Be your authentic self, because you're going to travel eternally by yourself. You can be in a room full of people, but you are always by yourself, because you're...
Layla, 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 tells it all.